Okay, I started recording again. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Another epic night. Another epic. Oh, why did you? Oh, hey. What the hey? Oh. So my friend just messaged me, and I'm gonna tell him I'm recording for Embrace the Stains Talk Radio right now. And if you're coming in too, I am recording. My name is Kuya Paul, and this is Embrace the Stains, the talk radio station where we get to embrace the stains because they're not stains, they're not mistakes, but they are the brushstrokes of God that create the masterpiece that is called your life. So again, my name is Kuya Paul, and we're going to be talking about, as always, life and worship, arts, all of course while loving God as well too. So tonight, what I wanted to do is I usually start with a question, and I usually talk about things that either youth, young adults, and especially artists actually do have in their heart. I was searching my Facebook though a couple days ago, and I found this really great video. And with this great video, it was actually shared by an organization I used to work with a few years ago when I was working with Union Rescue Mission down in downtown LA, and it had a really great message. Now, unfortunately, the way I'm actually sharing it right now, I can't actually play the video too well for you guys to hear, but this is what I will do. I will play it, and then you'll probably hear a little bit coming out of my speaker. I'll be talking about it as it goes along. I'll be kind of commenting and commentating on it. I definitely welcome you guys while I'm doing that as well. If you guys can come into the link, I'm going to be sharing it actually on my YouTube, and you're going to go ahead and see that. I'm also going to share it right now in chat just in case you guys want to see it. So I'm sharing it right now in chat, and it's sending, and it's a YouTube once again of a really great man that I really admire. He's an actor. His name is Patrick Stewart. And just in case you don't know who Patrick Stewart is, he was Captain Jean-Luc Picard on the Star Trek Enterprise in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Very long time ago, sci-fi series. A lot of you sci-fi buffs will probably love the series, remember the series. He's a really great actor, British trained, so definitely classically trained. I love his acting style. I love how classic he is. But one thing I actually do admire, and yeah, we'll get to the video, don't worry about that, but one thing I do actually admire about him is the fact that he loves doing sci-fi stuff. And I actually saw this video called it was a documentary called The Captains. So William Shatner, who was Captain Kirk, he actually did an interview on all the captains who were on the Star Trek series. So Patrick Stewart was one of them. All these other actors and actresses were also a part of it as well. But I really like his heart because at first he actually didn't want to do sci-fi. Now, it's funny, he's always doing it, more or less. So he's done Star Trek, and he is definitely known for a bunch of other sci-fis. One in particular that you probably would love is the X-Men. I remember when I was a little kid, I just thought in my heart, you know what? If they're gonna make an X-Men movie, they gotta get Patrick Stewart to play Professor X, Professor Xavier. And looky there, all the other ones, I didn't think that they'd actually cast. Halle Berry as Storm, yeah, sure, why not? Hugh Jackman, he does fit the role of Wolverine, but you gotta get, and they did get, Patrick Stewart. So really, really admire this guy. So when I saw the video, I was like, oh, I gotta watch it because really great guy. I admire his his technique, his acting. And I just admire him as a person. Now, of course, at the same time, you know, he has his mistake, he has his flaws, things like that as well too. But I do admire his craft, so I had to watch this video. Now, the video is entitled "Patrick Stewart Gives Passionate Response to a Question" at Comic Palooza 2013, which unfortunately I wasn't able to go to. But the passionate response was very interesting, and I'm going to start playing the video. And once again, if you guys are watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it now, I definitely recommend playing it with me. When I say play, we'll all play it together, so we can be one good class that all follows along or whatever. I used to be a teacher, so but we're going to go ahead and actually watch the video. together. I'll commentate on it. I might pause every now and then. We'll see. But he gives a really, really strong remark on something that I think is very important to all of us. And I'll be talking a little bit about that. And the subject line, just so you guys know what we're going to be talking about today, is domestic violence, which it's interesting because when you talk about art, when you talk about actually pursuing art and art forms, the whole idea of domestic violence it doesn't seem like it fits, or violence in general is really what I wanted to talk about. But we'll see after the talk that we're going to have tonight that there is something that needs to be addressed, especially within our art form, especially as young people, especially as people just in life, on this whole idea of violence, whether it's physical, mental, moral, emotional. There's this idea of violence that needs to be addressed, and there's an ideal of hurt and pain that needs to be addressed in order for us to continue to live a good life. Like I said before in the very beginning, and like what Embrace the Stains really stands for, is the whole idea of embracing all the things that look like mistakes, because they're really brushstrokes that God can use to really fulfill the purposes in our life that really need to be fulfilled, and to make us the person that we need to be. However, without further ado, let's go ahead and play the video. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, play, and we'll all play it together. And again, I'll be commentating along the way. Hopefully I don't interrupt them too much. So if I go silent a little bit, hopefully you guys are listening to what he's saying. So here we go. Patrick Stewart gives passionate response to the question at Comicpalooza 2013. And there's no audio. What? I got murked. So if you're actually following along, I skipped actually 2 seconds 35. And if you're actually listening actually right now, he's talking to a lady. Ooh, is this up? Yep, this is up. He's actually talking to a lady who's basically sharing her experience actually with domestic violence and what had been going on in her life. So on number 30. Ooh, wow. Oh, there you go. There you go. Let me pause it real quick, just to let you guys know I'm at 109, and he's talking about actually his whole drive actually for domestic violence and being an advocate of domestic violence as well, helping with definitely several campaigns. Comicpalooza, I believe, was in Texas this year. So he's actually going to be talking a little bit about that as well, but I don't want to keep interrupting him. Let's see what he has to say.
Domestic violence is something that grew out of my own childhood experience. And I'm associated particularly with one organization in England called Refuge, which has, since the 1970s, provided, with many other services, safe houses of women and children.
Just a little bit on there, and I stopped at 135 actually in the video. There are really some great safe houses actually within LA alone, and because I'm an Angelino, I definitely have a big advocate for that. A lot of people actually, if you did not know, a lot of the domestic violence issues that go on definitely are with women. It's predominantly with women, but some people actually don't talk about it. But a lot of runaways, like teen runaways, a lot of it's centric on running away because of violence within the house. And I've unfortunately got to meet several of these teens at one point during my short career within the public service, within social services, working at Union Rescue Mission, where you actually did see teens by themselves running away, having no food, no place to stay, no place to sleep, living on the street because they'd rather live there than in the abusive house that they were already in. It's actually something that not a lot of people actually like talking about, not a lot of people actually see, but definitely it is something that should be quite highlighted. The whole idea of running away because of that violence. So let's just continue, and again I'm on 135, and we'll continue from here.
I mean safe houses where they can go and feel perhaps Plan Pledge, which was co-sponsored by the United Nations. And it is a great campaign which is based on the belief that the people who could do most to improve the situation of so many women and children are in fact men.
I just want to stop here because I want to actually skip to a portion where he actually gets very passionate about his speech. It's actually towards the end. And he talks to the woman about basically about how she's doing. So the whole question actually started in the beginning. If you guys have been following along, the question from the woman about, I've been in domestic violence and I just wanted to kind of applaud all the things that he was doing. So he asks towards the end of basically his little rant how she's doing and everything and all the things that she had to go through. And something really, really remarkable actually happens that I wanted to share with you guys. And again, I'm actually starting at I'm going to start right at 5. So 500 or 501 500 whatever. And then we're going to start from here and then we're going to go on from the end.
I heard in my home doctors and ambulance men say, Mrs. Stewart, you must have done something to provoke him. Mrs. Stewart, it takes two to make an argument. Wrong. Wrong. My mother did nothing to provoke that. And even if she had, violence is never, ever a choice that a man should make.
I just love that part. I love that part so much. And then you can't see him because everyone's standing up. It's so awesome.
Guys, thank you. I look around and I see a lot of men standing up, and that's brilliant because you have here in Texas a man called Mike Rawlins. Mike Rawlins, mayor of Dallas. Michael was with me on that platform at the United Nations event, and he spoke so potently and so powerfully about these issues. He spoke about it from his own experience of being a Texan and of living and working in Dallas, and I'm so proud to share that platform with him. He's a remarkable individual. Okay, we're going to talk about other things.
Okay. I like how he transitions, but it's so awesome. I love how passionate he gets, and it's funny. You don't really regard passion like that very often, especially in somewhat of a celebrity like Patrick Stewart. You may not really, and of course, like on screen and everything else, you might of course kind of realize that it's gonna happen. He's gonna show his character. He's gonna show his form. He's gonna show passion because he has to on screen, on the silver screen, or on the TV screen or whatever. But it's just such a highlight to see passion in a place where you really want to see it. But that's beside the point of what I wanted to talk about today. I do definitely want to give props to Patrick Stewart. Again, I admire the guy. He's awesome. His form and his acting prowess is just incredible. And I love the fact that he loves doing nerdy stuff like playing Professor X. But to see someone like that, or anyone like that, becoming so passionate about a very, very sensitive topic, really got to me, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk. And I actually found the link before I forget. I did find the link being shared on my Facebook from an organization in Venice, I believe, called A Window Between Worlds. Now, the organization is actually an organization of people who use arts as a healing tool, and that's their tagline, actually: art as a healing tool. Because a lot of people who have experienced violence, a lot of people who have experienced pain, a lot of people who have experienced suffering, they didn't know how to talk about it, and they go to people, people that they trust, even people that they trust, even their friends, their family, counselors and physicians, and they could not express themselves. However, when they were just given they were given an art form, they were given crayons and glue sticks and all these other mediums to express themselves like children express themselves. I mean, let's face it. Like, if you're given construction paper, a couple of safety scissors, sticks of glue, crayons, and markers, that it seems like, for at least in the beginning, that these are children's things. But to be able to use that, craft that into different things that would be able to express what your heart's really feeling. That was the whole idea of Window Between Worlds. That was the whole idea between art as a healing tool. They use arts to be able to express things that words sometimes couldn't say. Now you kind of see the connection, and let's see the reason why I wanted to talk about this. And we don't talk about it very much. See, a lot of times, I've been around for a while, and I've seen artists come and go. I've seen people within the church express themselves actually through the worship that they do. I've seen artists with paintings, in poetry, in their words and lyrics, within their raps and their songs, and even just the way that they play their instruments. You can feel emotion behind it. And it's the tool that we use sometimes to express ourselves. It's the tool that we use to express what words cannot be said. And I can't help but just really believing this whole idea that's it's meant for a reason. Now, let me tell you this, and let me premise this in this certain way. I don't, and I am not an advocate of any type of violence. I mean, I agree with what Patrick Stewart said within his speech. Violence is never, ever, 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 ever the answer. But it happens, and it's one of the things that that definitely becomes a highlight, especially with artists. It becomes a highlight of their career. It becomes a highlight of their arts. But it's like in soft-spoken, almost non-spoken terms, you see art and you see things portrayed within art, and you see pain and suffering. You don't want to relay, you don't want to equate it to an artist and what they might actually be going through in real life, but you know, and you believe, and you really see that there's some kind of pain there. It's not like that all the time. And I know, like, artists basically they kind of portraying the portrayer. They portray pain that they know other people are feeling, or they try to sympathize or empathize and try to relate art within that, because they're not feeling it themselves, but they just imagine what other people are feeling. But the whole idea and the whole fact of the matter is, it all stems and all spurns basically from this idea of violence, this idea of suffering, this idea of pain, this idea of, just like what this woman was experiencing, violence domestically, violence within the home. And it's a soft-spoken topic, and the reason why I'm bringing it up today, and the reason why I really felt in my heart that I needed to bring it up, is the idea that I really feel a lot of people out there don't know how to express it. I feel a lot of people, and a lot of people that I minister to, and I've said it before, especially within this forum, I not only talk to artists, I not only talk to people who want to get deeper within their art form or within worship at the church, but I also talk to youth as well. And I've seen so many youth. You can tell something's happening. You can tell something's wrong in the home. You can tell by the way they act, and sometimes you can tell by the way they're not acting. They're not being real. They're being fake. They're being supremely happy when pain is on the inside, and you see it a lot. And there's an importance that I want to emphasize within this. and within this talk. It was the whole idea of expression. It's the whole idea of sharing, and at the right time, of course. Like, you don't just like share everything, and like, because you are sharing your heart, and your heart can be just as hurt emotionally, as well as your body physically. So there is, though, this idea and this chance to share, especially with artists, especially with people. So I wanted to just throw it out there, the whole idea that your art is a healing tool. I really wanted to throw out this idea that when you share your art, it helps you heal. When you share your, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna go very Bible study right now. But when you get into embracing the pain, then something great can happen. Now, here comes the whole Bible study idea. So in the book of Genesis, there's a story about this guy named Joseph. So before Joseph was born, his father and his mother basically were really praying for the kid. Now, his dad himself had 2 wives. And with his first wife, he had many sons. So many sons, and then there was Joseph. But with all these sons, basically, when Joseph was born, Joseph became the favorite. Joseph became the guy that his father and his mother really, really went to and really coddled and really just spoiled. So as that happens, and as his brothers saw it, it's really funny that I bring this up, because this is what happened. His brothers threw him in a pit and sold him into slavery. And it's really interesting, especially maybe for those who might be watching this. Joseph himself, and if you know anything about the story of Joseph now, I mean, you at least mentally can skip to the end. You remember what happened to him. But at the very least, maybe we don't realize Joseph experienced domestic violence. I never really realized it, actually, myself. Until I went back and I actually saw this. Joseph experienced violence within the home from his brothers. He was beaten. He was abused. He did not receive too much love. And the one time when Joseph the one time when Joseph was expressing his heart, most of all, even his parents were emotionally capping him, emotionally giving him caps, giving him boundaries, giving him things that were hindering him. He was experiencing domestic violence within the home. And to this incredible degree where he eventually became homeless. He was sold into slavery. And so many different things happened. He was thrown in jail. It's so funny because like I think of these and I think of all the stories that I used to hear at Unit Rescue Mission. Now, of course, every story was different. But a lot of the things were the same. So some people are actually escaping domestic violence and they end up in drug abuse. Some people are escaping domestic violence and escaped it through other means of violence. End up getting thrown in jail, just like Joseph. It's so funny. And Joseph had to experience all these different things because the center and the root was domestic violence. So he was thrown into slavery. He was accused wrongly and thrown in prison. And he stayed there for years. Until one day, the Pharaoh himself asked him to interpret a dream. And because Joseph didn't keep his past behind, but embraced what has happened so far, embraced everything that had happened to him so far, he was able, through the will of God, interpret the dream, and became the second most powerful person in all of Egypt. Which at this time, Egypt was it. Egypt was the empire to rule all empires at the time. So he was almost the second most powerful person, almost in the world. And it's so funny looking at it this way. And it came and it spurred from pain. And it came and it spurred from violence. And it came and it spurred from people who didn't appreciate him in his own home. In his own home. And yet from there, Joseph was able to embrace all these things. And what I mean embrace, not leave. Because if you continue on, and if you read, and I really encourage that you do go into your word, you do go into your Bibles. If you don't have one, go to BibleGateway.com, go to Bible.com, go to any, you can find the word online. Just look at the book of Genesis and look up Joseph. And if you look at his story, it's interesting because not only does he find healing in dedicating his life to the will of God, and dedicating his life to what God really was calling him to do, which is to interpret dreams and to save his people. He was able to do all of this and heal his family. He was able to do all of this and find healing and bring his family back together. He was able to see his dad again. He was able to see his brothers and rekindle a relationship. Not even rekindle, to kindle a relationship he never had with them. A loving relationship, a relationship that was founded on love. Why? Because he embraced the stains. Why? Because he embraced all the bad stuff that happened in his life. He didn't forget it, but he didn't have it hold him back to what he was really called to do. And I really want to encourage you guys. And this is why it just really sparked when I saw this great actor that I admire talk about domestic violence so passionately, because he knows that there is healing behind it. There can be healing even in the midst of violence. You can find healing. Even in the midst of pain, your family can one day still get together again. And I encourage all you guys, if you're just a young person just watching this, and you're experiencing it, you experience violence within the home, definitely, if it's in your heart to share about it, definitely I'm here. You can email me, and of course my email will be in the bottom as always, but just in case, it's ETSRevolution@gmail.com. You can email me, you can share your story. I promise I won't share anything that you might say. It'll just be between us, and we'll have a really great talk in terms of just getting that out, getting that healing tool out, and just basically just sharing your heart and saying, this is what's going on. I do need help. If you have a heart to share that, go share it. And I'm here. There's so many other places that you can go to, so many counselings. If you are a young person, or if you're going either to junior high, high school, college, there are counselors within your school that will also listen to you. And I would and I will, when you actually go and talk to me, I will encourage that you go in and you talk to those counselors as well, and you find that help. If you're an artist and you've been through pain, and you've been using that pain to establish your art, let me say one more thing. I'm glad, number one, that you're finding healing within your heart, within your arts, and within your heart. I'll say both. I'm so glad, and I've met so many artists that have been through pain within their lives, pain within their family, and they've found healing in going through their art. But they've also been trapped, because the more you do art, the more you get addicted. It becomes a drug that you actually have to do your art more just to feel better. And sooner or later, your art actually won't be enough. You actually have to do a drug. I've seen it. And it just becomes a pain reliever, but not a healer. There's only one healer. I'm actually glad I said it that way. The only person that can heal is God. And I will never be ashamed to actually say that. Only God can heal. But what I wanted to say is that God will. Not just God can. A lot of people, you go to church and they'll tell you, God can heal God can heal. I'm here to tell you, God will. What do you mean will? I mean it's inevitable. I mean if you dedicate your life to Him and say, God, hey, all of me, you've given me this art, and you showed me there's healing behind me just doing my art. I dedicate it all to you. I dedicate my family to you. I dedicate my dad to you. If your dad is the proponent of that domestic violence in your home, if your mom, if your siblings, whoever it is, it could be someone that you love, a relative. It could be someone close to you. It could be a teacher. I don't know who it could be. I don't want to accuse anyone, but I don't know who it might be. It could be yourself. And there's another organization actually that I didn't get to talk about, but it's one of my favorite ones, called To Write Love on Our Arms. And they talk about people who basically go through fits of depression, and they're an organization that helps them, that helps people get through their depressions. Is one of my favorite organizations that have been continuing to strive for people to get out of depression, get out of fits of self-infliction or cutting themselves or any kind of deep depressions that they're going through, and find healing. And I'll say it, healing within God will happen once you dedicate your life unto Him. So I know I mentioned that organization, but I'm telling you, God will heal your pain, your hurt. He will. It's a will. It's not just a can. And again, you're going to hear it in church. God can heal. God can heal. God can heal. God will heal. It's a will. He's going to do it. So I encourage you guys, if you're the type of artist who fuels on that pain and is running out of gas, I'm letting you know, healing's coming. Art is not a band-aid. Art is not a band-aid. It's basically, it's a tool that God uses. I would say it's actually more of a scalpel. Art helps you heal, but only when it's in the hands of a great physician. Ooh, I actually like that. Sorry about that. Art is not a band-aid. It's a scalpel, and it can only be used right when it's in the hands of a great physician. So if you give it up to God, if you give your art up to God, if you give your life up to God, I guarantee you will find healing. You will find healing. I really wanted to share that with you guys. So if you are a young person, please find help. If you're experiencing violence, even if it's self-violence, definitely if you're going through fits of depression, find someone, find a counselor. And again, you have my email. You're more than happy. Be more than happy to email me if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you want to share your heart. But definitely, you have counselors, you have hotlines out there. Please use those resources. They are there for you. And I'm going to do my best actually to put in some of the resources. There's I believe Teen Line's actually still up. And I definitely would recommend all these other things that I talked about today. Definitely look up these organizations, and they will help you find that healing tool. If you are an artist though, if you are an artist and you're using art as a band-aid, I'm here to tell you, it's not. It's a scalpel. But it can only be used right in the hands of a great physician. It will heal. God will heal. Dedicate your art, dedicate your life to Him, and He will heal you. So, that's basically it. That's what I wanted to talk about today. If you guys are still on, and I'm not checking my chat, sorry. I mean, I'm checking the chat, but I don't know how many people are actually watching this live. I'm glad you guys are, if you are, and I'm glad also if you are a YouTube watcher. So if you're watching it on and you gotten this far, thank you very much for actually watching this far within the broadcast. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that this broadcast is helping you. As always, I definitely wanted to encourage, if you do have any questions that you guys want answered on stream, it could be a simple questions about your art form, simple questions about, how do I pursue art, or what are I doing this, or how do I find like the artist, and whatever. I mean, I'm giving you some questions. Maybe I'll answer those. Or if you have a question of your own as an artist, definitely go ahead and email me, ETSRevolution@gmail.com. If you're a young person who also has questions about life, about God, about anything, about faith, definitely go ahead and shoot me an email. I may and probably will answer those online as well too. I'm trying to do my broadcast actually more than once a week, and hopefully I can get to a point where I'll be able to do it for a very good long time, and be able to answer everyone's question when it comes in. In the meantime, one more thing, definitely subscribe to this channel, Ustream, and Embrace the Stames Talk Radio channel. Also, follow me on Facebook. I'll have the links below on my YouTube. So if you guys are watching there, that'd be great. And I believe I also have it on my broadcast channel. So with all that and all the other links that I wanted to share with you, you guys can actually go on. I totally forgot I had a website. It's called embracethestains.com. All of the links that I'm talking about, from my Facebook, my Twitter, If you want to follow my own art form, I do poetry, I do photography, I also do rights, and of course my YouTube and my Ustream channels are up there as well too. I just updated it. You can go to, once again, www.embracethestains.com, and you'll be able to find all of the links there as well. As well as, one more thing I did want to throw out, a donate button. So if you do want to donate and wanted to give any kind of love offering to me for all the work that's being done, I definitely would appreciate it. It's not required. Everything that I'm sharing is absolutely free. Definitely could use the prayers too. So if you just want to email me and say, hey, I'm praying for you, or if you want to shoot it on my Facebook, definitely that's what it's there for. Other than that, my name once again is Paul Abesamis, and this is Embrace the Stains, where we embrace what God has done in our lives, whether good or bad or indifferent, because you know what, the bad stuff, it's not stains. They're not mistakes, but they're the brushstrokes in our lives that make us the masterpiece that God calls us, that God calls our life. So I really wanted to share that with you guys. I really wanted to share what we talked about today. I hope it does bless you guys, and I definitely encourage you guys, if you know someone who would really benefit from hearing this talk, definitely share it with them as well too. My name once again is Paul Abesamis. Peace out. Thank you guys so much, and take care. God bless.